OmegaQuant Test, the test for secret killer called silent inflammation. Hello, I am Dr. Naras Bhatt from ConcordWeightLossClinic.com. You will learn what is OmegaQuant Test, why it is done, and how it is done, and what do the results show, and what is your action plan based on the results. So what is OmegaQuant Test? It measures the level of omega-3 fat in your red blood cell as a part of the total fat in your red blood cell. It is the result is given as the HS omega-3 index. It measures the silent inflammation, which is the silent killer. If you look at the inflammation as an iceberg, the tip of the iceberg is measured by the usual blood test called sed rate blood test. And a little below the tip is the highly sensitive C-reactive protein blood test. But OmegaQuant blood test measures the entire iceberg. The tip of the iceberg is again things like heart disease, stroke, and depression, but the underlying problem is a silent inflammation. So a low OmegaQuant index is associated with the high risk of a heart attack and stroke, high blood pressure, weight gain, and depression. Inflammation in the heart is now known as one of the major factors in causing your heart attack. In fact, American Heart Association and CDC recommends C-reactive protein cut points like low risk is less than 1, average risk is 1 to 3, and high risk is more than 3 of CRP point. Fish oil decreases the risk of heart disease. Here is a graph explaining that. If your omega-3 index is very high, then there is a very low risk of heart disease. If it is very low, there is a very high risk of heart disease. This research was published in New England Journal of Medicine in 2002. How is inflammation related to weight gain? When you have abdominal fat, there is inflammation. Along with that, there is increased insulin resistance, then high blood sugar and high insulin level, and simultaneously when you consume a lot of omega-6 oil or high amount of sugar and simple starches, then the enzymes are promoting more inflammation. Your gut becomes leaky, and then wrong kind of bacteria grow in your gut, in your intestine. That promotes more weight gain as well. And that is another measure of silent inflammation. Fish oil can help you to lose weight. And in fact, this research was published in Obesity Review in 2009. Depression can be related to low OmegaQuant test score. In fact, Japan has lowest incidence of depression, whereas Canada and the United States has very high incidence of depression, and that corresponds to very low OmegaQuant score. So high omega-3 supplements or high OmegaQuant score helps you to control depression. So how is the test done? It is a simple finger prick test, and then the blood is put on a blot paper and mailed to OmegaQuant company. In fact, the test is so simple you can do it at home. So the ratio of omega-3 total body fat in red blood cell is determined by OmegaQuant test. And you read it like a traffic sign. The red zone is less than 4 and the green zone is closer to 8%. This particular patient only had 4.6%, indicating that she is closer to red zone. That means low OmegaQuant score. You regulate your insulin and diabetes medicine by doing a finger prick blood test of your blood sugar. You regulate your blood pressure and blood pressure pill by checking your blood pressure. Similarly, you regulate your need for fish oil intake and measure your silent inflammation by OmegaQuant Test. Americans consume too much of the omega-6 oil in their food or as grain or as meat, grain-fed meat. And omega-3 fat to omega-6 fat should be 50-50 in percentage, but Americans consume 80% of their intake as omega-6 fatty acid. This is how you act on your result. You consume very high omega-3 containing food like a salmon, sardine, trout, tuna, shrimp, cod, etc., and try to reduce your intake of grain-fed meat that is excess in omega-6 fatty acid. So fish oil supplements can be precisely titrated by using OmegaQuant test.